Welcome to today's webinar about Sales Center, and thank you for spending some time with us here today. We actually have TJ as our guide through Sales Center in EZLynx, and in brief, if you don't know anything about it yet, it has to do with helping you to track your prospects, seeing how much premium you have in the pipeline, where people are in the process. The idea is it can help you to not lose track of people so that you can make more sales, as well as if for people maybe that you don't write at first, be able to set them aside as an next date and remarket them later. So excited to see what TJ is going to share with us today. TJ, over to you.
Like I said, I'm TJ. I'll be doing the presentation today. So I want to start off with a PDF, go through some basics of the settings, agency insights, the customizing your opportunity cards. I'm also going to go into a demo just to set some expectations. There is some jumping around that might happen because I'll need to go into profiles and into the opportunity card section of Sales Center. And if you miss something, if you're taking notes or doing this on your screen as well, just put in the chat, hey, how did you do that? I can always revisit it. Let me go ahead and share my screen to start. So one of the things in Sales Center that's pretty cool is the agency insights chart or table. This is where you can track your opportunities and status across your agency. You can filter the information down to focus on specific information. Example down below. So you came to work one morning, you had some things expiring, things you needed to cross-sell, and unbound policies you needed to bind up. You could filter your sales pipeline down to those three options and focus on those for that time period. You can also assign those things. If you have a multi-agent agency, you can assign those things to other people as well. Next, one thing that we'll touch on here, you'll see these in action later in the demo, but I wanted to touch on the opportunity buckets. So the opportunity section is your single view of everything happening within your agency. It's broken down into simple sections. New is just a new opportunity card. There's three ways for the opportunity cards to show up there. If you create a new applicant, if you convert an old profile that maybe was before you had Sales Center to a new opportunity, and also X dates. We'll talk about the X date bucket here in a minute. If you move a opportunity to X date, once that X date comes around, 45 days prior, it will convert to a new opportunity and show up. So you can see that all happen in real time. And so the new is when a new opportunity or clients create an EZLynx. The blue section, that's the contacted. So when you've contacted that client and discussed the quote or got information, and maybe it's just data gathering, you would move that opportunity card to contacted. Quoted is just that. The cool thing about quoted is once you quote that applicant in EZLynx, the opportunity card automatically moves to the quoted section. And then reviewed is you've talked about the quote with the client, and there are three options that'll happen there. They're either not interested. Maybe you've talked to them multiple times and they just don't want it. You could move that to the dead folder. Maybe they want it, but they don't want it till their renewal. So that would be an X date. You would just set it up for the X date, type in the X date that you want for that client. And then 45 days prior to that X date, it'll become a new opportunity and you can work it at that time. And then one is the one that we're all shooting for when you sell that policy. And once you bind it and have the policy in the profile, it should move to that one bucket automatically. If not, you can drag it there as well. So opportunity cards. Cool thing about opportunity cards is they can have as much or little information on them that you want. As you can see on the first one, this is a full card. It has all the bits of information that you can add to it. And you could just do phone number, email, and name if you want to. There is some flexibility there. If you want to see more cards on the page to work it that way, you can do that. But if you're one that likes to see information, have links to click on and get more info, you can absolutely have all the stuff showing as well. I'll show you this more in real time, like actually customizing it in the demo. But that happens right here in the show hide box up here in the top right. And just to zoom in, it opens up and you check these boxes for whatever you want to see on your opportunity cards. Next, we won't deep dive into this too much, but I did want to touch on the fact that you can create automations on the back of Sales Center. What can add, like for these statuses, let's say it moves to the contacted bucket or the quoted bucket, you can build automations on there. Maybe it moved to the one status and you want to send a welcome email. You can build automations off of that. And how you get there, I'll show you this also in the demo, but there's the settings tab down to Automation Center. And up here in the top right, you'll see workflows and then create new workflow. You'll just scroll down to step 5 here where it says Sales Center. And there's all the Sales Center specific automations that you can build. Settings. There are 2 sections of settings, general settings and producer notifications. For general settings, first you can assign a producer to be the fallback, or for all inside agents. You would just do that in the box right here. However, if you leave that box blank, it'll operate in a round robin step kind of system for your agency. So it'll take turns with everybody in the agency. Oops, sorry. You can elect for these 3 automations to automatically happen. I would suggest you always have these on. One is when you create a new opportunity, or it will create a new opportunity when you create a new applicant. When you quote, it'll automatically move to the quote setting section, and the automatically linking policies to opportunities. I would leave those all on. They're on by default, just a heads up. Also on general settings. So if you can elect if all users can see opportunities or if just admins can see it. I was talking to EZLynx yesterday and I tend to agree. I would make sure that user views is open just in case you have multiple agents and one agent is out of the office. With this checked and set up, everybody in the agency will be able to see and be able to help them work their leads while they're gone. That way things aren't sitting there stagnant for a week or whatever it is. Next is producer notifications. This is the last section of the settings section. So the cool thing about this section is it allows you to customize on a per agent basis how they get notifications. If they prefer email, you can do that. If they prefer text messaging, you can do that. Or EZLynx notifications. You can do all 3. It's completely customizable on all levels. It's more preference on what you want to do with your client or agents in your agency or how they want to do it. It might be best to do all 3 just so things don't get missed. That is the presentation. As far as the PDF presentation, that'll be in the email. You'll have that for later. Get out of here and exit out of that. Now what I want to do is show you this in demo format. I want you guys to see. So one thing I'm not going to make you watch me do is creating the profile. I already have one made here. As a matter of fact, when you're in a profile, up here in the top left, you'll see the sales opportunity button. If you click on that, it'll open up a new tab and you'll see that opportunity card right there. Another thing here I want to show you is the other way I mentioned about creating an opportunity. So let me see if I have an example profile here. So if you have an existing profile before you had Sales Center and you need to make an opportunity out of it, how you would do that is up in the top right. You're probably all familiar with the add note button. When you click that button down here in the notes section, what you're going to see is create opportunity. I've already created one off of this, so we'll see what happens if I click it. When you click on that, it'll give you some options. You can select the source, the X date of that policy, producer, and the line of business, source, and then the X date there for that specific line of business. So if you have something that's also pretty cool about this, if there's an existing opportunity out there, if you click up here, it'll show you that opportunity in that yellow box. So you'll see when it was created and everything like that. So you can click on that, close the workspace. Yes. And then there's some additional information there. So when you have that existing opportunity, let's say somebody wanted to buy the home, but not the auto or vice versa, you can actually split that opportunity right here with this button and sell the auto. It moves off. And now that opportunity is consolidated down to the one product. So that is how you create or edit existing opportunities in the profile. What I want to show you now, though, let me hop back to Teej Scoot. You guys have probably met him. He's not a bad guy. When I come in here, back into view edit, I've already created the quote, so I won't make you guys watch that. But one thing I want to show you is moving the card. You can move those over to contacted. Let's say we contacted that client. So now we know this contact has been contacted. It's ready to quote. Wherever you store that information, that process will have to be built on the back end, obviously, to keep things organized that way. But again, I said I wanted to show you how to customize this card. That's just the show hide button here. You can click on that and you can edit the things on that card. And it's very simple. It just happens. There's no save or there's no like settings tab or anything like that. It happens right here, right in front of you. So keep that in mind. So now the cool thing about when you quote, when you go in there and you have that information after you contacted them, if I click submit to carriers, we'll just say Progressive. That's fine. So we got our quotes here. So if I go to Sales Center and just click refresh, that is now going to be under the quoted section automatically. So we've quoted that. Obviously, you're going to have more than one lead. The nice thing about this is everybody in the agency is going to know exactly where that lead's at. Maybe you need to wait to hear back from the client. When you communicate with the client then and everything's reviewed, they're going to tell you what needs to happen. And when that happens, you would just manually move it to reviewed. There's going to be notes in this opportunity or on this profile that you are going to know whether it needs to be bound or if they want to do it at their X date or renewal date, or if they're not interested at all. So what you can do is, let's say they say, yeah, I want it, but I don't want it till my expiration date next month. Then you could take this opportunity card, click and drag it, just drop it in X date, and then put the X date of that opportunity. We'll just say it's next month on the 10th. So as it says right here, this will go back to new status 45 days prior to that date you entered. And 45 days prior to the date you entered, you will then see that opportunity here in the yellow bucket, and it'll go through the process. You recontact them, and it's probably already quoted or needs to be resubmitted to have the accurate effective date and stuff to review to 1 at that point. And then 1 status, if you sell it and bind that policy and add the policy or it downloads, it'll move to the 1 bucket automatically, but you can also drag it and put it in there as well. That is pretty much Sales Center in this box right here. I did want to show you live what the automations part looks like or how to get there. So that was under settings and then automation center. When you come in here, you'll go up here to workflows on the top. Over to the right, you'll click create workflow. And then you'll just scroll down and you'll see this little section down here and you'll see Sales Center. And that's where the Sales Center centric automations will happen. And you can build automations off of all the statuses in there, which is pretty cool as well. As far as the other things that I showed you, those are all under the Sales Center box right here. You'll see the briefcase. You'll see agency insights, which is right here. So if you want to filter down to expiring soon or expiring today, or maybe there's an umbrella that needs to be written or an opportunity to write an umbrella, it's a great way to create a lot of transparency in your sales pipeline to not let some of those opportunities slip through the cracks. So it's a great way to maximize your premium opportunity. Again, the opportunities link that'll get you to the colored buckets. Reports is just reports. And then settings is what I showed you there with the automations that happen behind the scenes. Again, I would just leave it as what it defaults as. The main thing on general settings I would focus on is if you want it to set up in a round robin assignment for your agency, or if you want it to go to one person to get doled out to everybody. That's completely up to you. And again, producer notifications is right there. X out of that. I did want to show you one more thing in here. A lot of people ask about the leads and getting them into EZLynx. One way, if you click on prospecting under Sales Center, the way they do this, if you click add new list in the top left, basically what you're going to do, you can name the list and the lead source and everything, but how EZLynx wants you to do it is you would download this CSV template. Sorry, every time I try to highlight that, it just moves the box. But you would download the CV template or CSV template here. What it's going to do is give you an Excel spreadsheet. It has headers that align exactly with what EZLynx is looking for. You'll have to enter in that info or import that info into that spreadsheet. And then you would upload that spreadsheet into EZLynx. and then you'd be able to submit it and it would be an EZLynx for you and should create opportunities for you as well there. If you're doing that in bulk. So the last thing that I wanted to go over with you today, because it wasn't going to be a real long call anyways, is on this opportunities page. If you wanted to move things in bulk, what you'll do is up here in the top right, there's a table view. When you click on that, what you can do here is if we click on multiple things, you can change the status here. If you want to move things to X state or 1 or things like that. And that's pretty much Sales Center in a nutshell. I really encourage you to try it out, start implementing it into your workflows, create automations off the back of that, schedule one-on-ones with me so we can get it integrated or convert previous clients to opportunity cards. It just really beats some paper and Post-it notes all around the desk. It lets you have a very clear view of what your agency's doing or what you can do to reduce the amount of leads that fall through the cracks. And I do think it'll make everything more efficient for you.
Hey, so TJ, a couple questions. One that I was, in fact, we have two, I think at least here on the side that we'll ask, but when you were showing just a moment ago how you can bulk edit some of those, I wonder if you could just expand on that just a little bit. Because what I'm thinking, what I think you're getting it with that is someone might have a bunch of people they've quoted or they've been using EZLynx for a while. They go into Sales Center and it's full of stuff that isn't helpful, right? Because it's too old or whatever. So am I right in thinking that a use for that would be that the agent could go through and clean it up so they could get their Sales Center to a usable status, but not have to like click on every single little card and change the status there?
Exactly. Yeah. And so one thing, and I asked this yesterday to EZLynx, and I'm actually glad you asked that because I was working with an agent one day and it would be nice if you could bulk move clients to like X date, but you can't. It only allows you to select one X date. So his suggestion for that would be like by month, just organize your table view by month here.
I think I see where you're going with this.
Yeah, the next
So like,
X date, and then you could do like the first of that month, and they would come in on 45 days before that.
So
Now
that it
the
could
big
pop
use
up
would be
in
the
the
dead
right
column.
month. Yeah, but you don't have to click on every single one. Yeah. Go ahead. Then what
Correct.
about the dead?
So like a big one would be if you're trying to move a bunch of policies to the dead column, then you could do that easily without drag. You can just go through, be like, okay, I contacted this 20s or 25 clients. They are 100% not interested, and you can move to the dead. The nice thing about dead though, is it's not deleted. That's the thing. You can delete clients all you want, but the problem is, I think I talked to an agent a couple weeks ago, and no client is dead. If we're all doing sales the right way, you can always revisit those. If you move them to the dead column, it is something where you can move it to the
Could
new
later
column
bring
and
them back.
rework it. Exactly.
Now, the next question actually was from Paul, and he's asking, how's the quoted premium determined in the Sales Center opportunity? He says, I'm looking at some of my opportunities, and the number that's showing isn't any of the return to quote numbers, makes those numbers really inflated looking. So he says one client shows quoted premium of $3,200, but the best quote returned was $830.
What it might be, and what you might see here, like if I come into, this might be a bad example because I've only got, it might be this number here. Generally, it'll take an average of everything. And what it's going to do is it's not going to give you your best or worst. It's going to take the median of all of those. That would be my best guess on where that actual number comes from. The big thing about that though, is that specific number, like this one right here, is not going to matter. What you're going to want to understand whenever you see that is that it's been quoted, and the quotes you have need to be reviewed with that client. And once you review with the client, hopefully you've come to a conclusion on which carrier is best for them, fine tune the quote and sell it. Is the goal there.
And that is an interesting thing. And maybe we could just confirm with EZLynx the use of that number, because it would be my main, go ahead.
I would just really encourage them to really, like with intent, try to implement some of these things like the retention center, all of the stuff EZLynx has to offer. And in that email, there's going to be a link at the bottom where you can book sessions with me on this. And those sessions will be a lot more tailored to what you're running into. So it's a good opportunity if Kelly wanted to take a look at what she's actually seeing it'll be much easier than some of the guesswork that happens here. But I would love to get to some of those things on those one-on-ones.
Yeah, thank you. And that was going to be my closing encouragement to everybody too, is that we realize that when you get a new system, like if you were learning to drive a car and you watch someone drive a car, you learn some, but you really learn it when you get into it for yourself. This is important enough to us, and we think it can make enough of an impact on your ability to grow to say, his time is available to you to say, let's look at mine and let's actually take a look at this with your actual prospects. There's nothing like it being your own prospects, your own clients, your own opportunities to help you both get that muscle memory and learn it in your head, as well as seeing, oh, I see now how this could benefit me and help me run a better agency. So, so with that, we'll say thank you very much for everybody for being here, and TJ as well for being a part of it.